What's up? What's going on? What's up, y'all? As promised, going live to discuss this Clarissa Shields' latest honey occurrence, I guess you can call it. Yeah, we're going live. I'm gonna give some people some time to get in here so we can talk. We got a lot to talk about today. We got a lot of Clarissa Shields news to talk about today. We are breaking down. We're breaking down the whole Clarissa Shields drama. She got two beefs simultaneously going on at the same time. We're gonna talk about it. Just waiting for y'all to get in here. Y'all, come on. We gotta talk about this song that she did for Alicia Baumgartner. We gotta talk about 50 Cent and him chiming in. I don't know what happened, but 50 Cent felt like he had to chime in. Today he got up and just was like, starting with Clarissa. I don't know. But we all know how 50 Cent is. 50 will, hold a grudge. We see how he's held a grudge against Ja Rule all these years. So now it seems that he set his sights on Clarissa Shields based off of some drama that started late last year, early this year. So we're gonna go through all of that. We're gonna talk about it all. We're gonna start with Alicia Baumgartner because we're covering the boxing angle, and then we're gonna move over into the 50 Cent beef that has been going on for a little while now, late last year, early this year. So let's go ahead on and get into it. So Clarissa and Alicia Baumgartner are both boxers. They're in different weight classes. Everybody wants them to fight, but again, different weight classes. And when you're a professional boxer, even if you want to fight somebody in the ring, it's not going to happen just because you guys wanted to. They have to agree on certain terms and conditions. And one of the biggest things that they have not been able to agree on is the weight class. Alicia Baumgartner fights at 130 pounds. Clarissa is training currently for a fight to weigh in at 160 pounds. So there has been back and forth in the past about the ladies trying to agree on a weight. I don't think Alicia wants to come up too far, and Clarissa has admitted to struggling going down to 160. So trying to get down past 160 would definitely be a struggle for Clarissa Shields. And then when you add weight, it does not help you with your agility, your speed, and things of that nature, especially if Alicia has never been more than the 130 pounds she carries. I think she walks around at maybe 5 or 10 pounds heavier than that when she's not training. So again, the weight has never been agreed upon between the ladies. But let's start from the beginning. Like we see with them from the early 2010s till around 2021, they were cool. Like Alicia and Clarissa didn't have any problems with each other. Like they were supportive of each other. They were both making their way in the ranks of the professional women's boxing, just doing that thing, right? So it wasn't until 2022 where we saw that there was some semblance of a clash between the two. They were in London. Clarissa was the headliner and she was fighting with Savannah Marshall. And then Alicia Baumgartner was kind of like co-headlining and she fought Michaela Mayer. When Alicia Baumgartner beat Michaela, she became the unified super featherweight champion, right? And she started getting more attention. She started being noticed more. And that seemed to have been the issue that started between her and Clarissa. It's been said numerous of times that Clarissa does not like when people get attention. Um, Clarissa seems to be of the mindset that, only she can, be the only one to have the limelight. What's up, y'all? Hey, Kelly. I'm sorry, I can't say your name. Chatar, Chachvr. What's up? And so it became a problem, it appears, for Clarissa when Alicia started getting more limelight after becoming that super lightweight unified champion after that fight in London. So As Alicia Baumgartner's star began to rise, she seemed to have always been confident, but it seemed to have hit Claressa the wrong way, her confidence. And so, we see where, fast forward, that was in 2022 when that all happened. We fast forward to April 2024, where they were at a fight. And there's a video. I did a couple of videos addressing the first time that Claressa put her hands on Alicia Baumgartner. She was actually in the middle of an interview, and the cameras was actually on Alicia. From what I saw, Claressa like came up to Alicia and was like yelling behind Alicia. And she was like so loud, you could barely hear what Alicia was saying. And they were still trying to conduct the interview. Whatever media was out there was still trying to conduct the interview with Alicia. Alicia put her arm up like this. She didn't touch Claressa. She put her arm up like this. Claressa swatted her arm down. She put her arm up again. Claressa swatted down again. Now, mind you, Claressa is behind Alicia because at this point, Alicia and her was arguing back and forth. Alicia turned, walked away, tried to continue the interview. Claressa followed her and was yelling behind her, at which point that's when Alicia did like this. Didn't touch Claressa, but just put her arm up like, back up off of me. She swatted her arm down like this. Alicia put her arm back up, continued talking. Claressa, still behind her, swatted her arm down like this. Now, this happened in April 2024. That was the first time she put her hands on Alicia, to my knowledge, that I know of. If y'all know anything different, you guys let me know. But I saw that. And it seems that in that instance, Claressa was the aggressor. She rolled up to where Alicia was and they started an argument and stuff like that. And, they're both boxers. And what I have noticed over the years, man or woman, when you're a fighter, wrestler, boxer, whatever, you're going to be confident. You're going to feel how you feel about yourself. You have to be confident. However, it does not mean that you are particularly throwing shade at anybody. It's just you're confident and you can be confident, right? So I don't understand why Claressa seems to have had the biggest problem with Alicia, because from what I know, and I've been watching like fights, I like UFC, boxing, all of that for years. I don't know a fighter that's not confident. Let me just put it like that. Like they all talk crap. They all, boost themselves up as they should, right? So, but for whatever reason, Claressa has seemed to have had a problem with Alicia ever since this whole London joint happened in 2022. All right, so fast forward, Alicia was asked in an interview, like, what she thinks about the whole Papoose and Claressa Shields thing. And in that interview, Alicia really was like, girl, you are too good to align yourself in this personal situation. Like, she was really not speaking on a relationship per se. She was just saying, for someone of Claressa's stature, why would she choose to be in that situation with a man who's still legally married, blah, blah, blah. She said what she said, and that was it. So it appears that, Claressa continued to be offended by those comments. And we see where in May of this year at the Netflix event where MVP had a fight going on with, Ronda Rousey, they got into it. Claressa approached Alicia again in this instance as well. Approached Alicia and, there was the slap. Okay. I have it on my channel on a couple of my videos. The angle doesn't really show exactly where the slap occurred. It appears that it was on her arm or something, because when like the reaction and response from Alicia, it was like her arm was hit because she looked down her arm like this. At the end of the day, it's obvious that these two had a friendship and an admiration for each other and their skill sets. And then somewhere along the way, it just changed. And now, as of yesterday, Claressa dropped a snippet of her diss track to Alicia. But even before that, like after the slap, let's talk about that, because after the slap, she was banned from MVP events. Claressa was, and she seemed to act like it wasn't a big deal, like she didn't care, whatever. It didn't matter to her. And so my thing is, because majority of the women who box are with MVP, immediately when I saw that ban, I was thinking like, who is she going to fight? Like, what is she going to do if she's continuing to box? Because majority of the women, at least in this country, are signed to MVP. Now, I did do a video expressing other places that hold, women boxers and stuff like that. Talked about her potentially fighting Lauren Price, and that I don't know whatever happened to that, because we now know that she's fighting Kay Scott, who's all the way from Australia. So anyway, we see where Claressa's personal life has taken a hit because she's with Papoose. We see where, she was beefing with Alicia. We know the whole fray that happened with Franchon Cruz in February, like when they were at the weigh-in, the mayhem that occurred. We know just the day-to-day that's been going on with Claressa Shields. And it just seems like she continues to fall further and further out of favor. But she tries to act like it doesn't bother her, right? But how could it not? And I challenge whether or not she's bothered, because this past weekend, Alicia Baumgartner was at a fight. And of course, she was being interviewed again. And they asked her about Claressa Shields. And she really wasn't even trying to talk about Claressa. She was like, yeah, we're not talking about her. Next question. And so he asked her, questions, and she answered, and she said there will be consequences. Like if you read the Bible, the consequence is. That's exactly what she said. And then the interviewer specifically asked her what would happen in a fight between you guys. And she said, I would knock her out. She said that about everybody though. It's not like I've seen Alicia just target Claressa. She says that about everybody. Like if she feels like if she's in the ring with you, she's gonna win. You know what I'm saying? She's gonna try to knock you out. Like, it's not like she is targeting Claressa. Not that I've seen. If somebody else have seen something else, then you guys let me know. But I haven't seen her particularly target her. On the other hand, it feels as if there is a professional and personal vendetta against Alicia that Claressa has. She mentioned something about her looks, her being light-skinned. And I'm like, okay, here we go. Like, in our community, in the Black community, there's always this conversation, and it shouldn't be, about light skin, dark skin, whatever. And I'm like, okay, here we go with this foolishness again. Like, it doesn't even matter. Like, whether you the lightest of light or the darkest of dark, it really doesn't even matter. So she has this diss track, and I put a short up on my channel that said the first few lines of the diss track. And then, I'm sitting here like, why? It's weird because she won't meet this girl in the ring, but she'll go to the booth. And then when it comes to Remy Ma, she won't meet her in the booth, but she want to meet her in the ring or in a fight. It's just weird. It's just backwards. I don't know. I don't know if Claressa feels like she's an easy target, as in Alicia is an easy target to hit her in the booth, because to our knowledge, Alicia is not musically inclined. That's not what Alicia does. She's a boxer. She focuses on boxing. She's constantly training. She's expanding herself beyond boxing by being on a new show coming up this fall on Fox. And it's a physically challenging show. So she stays in the lane of being physically fit, doing her boxing. She's promoting a new fight. She did mention that this past weekend, that by the end of the year, she will have another fight. So she's focused on those type of things. Meanwhile, Claressa has a fight in August on the 15th. And we do see her training. I'm not going to say that she's not training. I'm not going to say she's not focused. However, I feel like getting in the booth to do this diss track towards Alicia Baumgartner it's just weird to me. I mean, like, y'all let me know if y'all think it's weird. I just feel like if you guys are not gonna make it happen in the ring, just while we doing all of this other stuff. I know that, for me, it appears that Claressa likes the shock factor of things. She likes to stay with a buzz. But I don't know if this is the right buzz for her. Like that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Sometimes people feel like any press is good press because you're being talked about. But at the same time, in her instance, I feel like Claressa is doing herself a disservice and she's distracting away from her persona that she has as a great boxer, and it's just kind of going all different kinds of directions. And I've talked about this before and saying that if Claressa does not want to box anymore, that's cool. Like nobody would be mad at her if she wanted to like pivot into something else. But what is she really pivoting into? It just seems to be all over the place. Okay, so there's that. And then we all know that her and 50 Cent had been into it, back in 2024. She had put up a tweet saying how excited she was going to be meeting 50 Cent for the first time. He actually had her as a VIP guest of his at some events. I mean, so things was cool. Like everything was all right. It seems that there was some issue between Papoose and 50 that Claressa got dragged into. And that's when things shifted regarding 50 Cent. And here's the thing that I want to say about 50 Cent. First of all, I like 50 Cent. Is he petty? Absolutely. Does he hold a grudge? Absolutely. And that's why I would not want that man as an enemy. I would not want him as an adversary. Like, look at what he did to Ja Rule, and he still holds on to this grudge against Ja Rule to this day. I would not want to mess with that man, right? When Papoose and 50 Cent were at it, she should have just let them handle it, right? I know that 50 brought her in. He does that. He tends to do that. He did that with T.I. and his wife. T.I. handled that. I feel like Claressa should have let Papoose handle that. On the Vlad interview, he said he told Claressa, I got this, right? Because at the end of the day, it was two men at it. Were you a casualty of war? Yes, you were. Like, definitely. He brought her into it by, putting up the little AI generated photos and talking about her and stuff like that. But she did not trust Papoose to take care of it. Or she didn't like the way he was taking care of it, or she felt like he didn't go hard enough. I don't know. Can't say what Claressa thought or felt as to why she did what she did. But she got in it. And I was trying to figure out like what happened with Papoose and 50 Cent that led to this beef. And all I could find was that Papoose had got into it with some comedian named Gerald Hudson, who was making a joke calling Claressa Serena. He was calling her Serena. And of course, she didn't like that. She's not Serena. And I get that. Like, don't call me somebody else. You know who Serena is. And if you thought I was Serena, then that's one thing. But it was clearly like he was kind of nagging her about it. So Papoose stepped in. And from what they say, he allegedly hit the man. I don't know if he punched him or that somebody said it was a book involved. I don't know. It's kind of murky on that detail. But the point is, he stepped to the guy. He hit him. Okay. So I guess for some reason, 50 had words about that. He had an opinion about that. He expressed it. And then him and Papoose got into it. Okay. So that's how that started. So of course, 50 always gonna take it up a notch. And he started talking about her alleged, affairs or, whatever you want to call it, that she had with Terrence Bud Crawford. Now, mind you, she was supposed to be engaged to Tony Rich at the time when she was supposedly messing with Bud. We all know about the Maserati Bud situation. Maserati and 50 are cool. And so he was basically saying, like, I got receipts for this stuff. You out here, you supposed to be engaged and then you messing with Bud, you messing with Maserati, whoever. I don't know. Anyway. So at the end of the day, it got ugly. But then 50 backed up and he was like, you know what? Guess what? I'm actually a fan of Claressa Shields. he rooted her on for her fight that she had with Franchon Cruz that was coming up in February this year, and he left it alone. But then, not one to be outdone, Claressa went on the Melissa Ford podcast in April this year, and she was talking about 50 Cent, and she was talking about how, Papoose would whoop 50 and all of this here. We all heard it. I don't know if she realizes like what 50 Cent's background is, but 50 Cent is like Golden Gloves. Like 50 Cent is no punk. Like he can actually fight. And there's actually people from New York who talk about 50 Cent and how he get down. And she was like, oh, anybody from New York could tell you how Pap get down. I personally haven't heard anybody say anything about Papoose and his skills when it comes to the hands. If y'all have, let me know. But I personally haven't heard anything versus, we hear people talking about 50 Cent and, how he was back in the day, this, that, and the other. They say he was always a bully. Like, that's just what they said about 50 Cent. And the thing about 50 Cent is, could he be considered a villain? Yeah, depending on how you view it. I look at it like this. 50 Cent, even though he may be petty, he may have a villain persona, I don't think that's who he is. And the reason I said it is because he has so many lucrative things that occurred in his career. He knows how to do business. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to elicit support. He's actually likable. Those are the things that you can't, dispute when it comes to 50 Cent. The man has been going since like 2003 when Get Rich or Die Trying hit big. I think it was 2003, if I'm not mistaken. 9 times platinum. A lot of people haven't sold 9 times anything in a whole deck of whatever they put out. And on his first project, 9 times platinum, it's crazy. So that alone is a huge accomplishment, let alone all the other things that he's done. We can run down his resume and talk about it, but y'all already know, what I'm saying? But 50 Cent is a mogul at this point. He has conquered music. He has conquered TV. He's done movies. He has his own production company. He's just doing it. We all know about the vitamin water gig he did. It's just crazy how accomplished this man is. And so for Claressa to put a tweet out saying that, implying that he was never number one at what he did is like, I don't know if I think she was just talking. Had to be, because 50 Cent is not somebody who you can sit there and say is not accomplished, right? Even if you don't like the man, you got to give it up for the accomplishments. And currently is nominated for 3 Emmys for the documentary that he did on Diddy. So again, his accomplishments are ongoing. They're consistent. They're current, right? So I'm not sure where Claressa was going with the tweet that she did earlier today, talking about not being number one in what they do. Okay. And so for whatever reason, I don't know what happened behind the scenes, but 50 decided to put up a picture of Claressa Shields when she was at the hair salon before they put the little bust down wig on her that she wore out of Gucci in a few months ago. Put that up and said she's handsome and she looks like AB, as in Adrian Bronner, the boxer Adrian Bronner. I don't know why he did that. I don't know what's going on, but what I do know is that Claressa got a lot going on, and I don't know if she can take the stance of bullying Alicia Baumgartner at this point and giving Alicia more ammunition. More than once, both ladies have talked about there being legal ramifications from the slap that happened in May this year. Even in her freestyle, Claressa is talking about, potential legal repercussions. So I'm like, why would you continue to give her evidence or proof or whatever? Because she keeps talking about, like, here's the hypocrisy that doesn't make sense for me when it comes to Claressa Shields. She was upset with 50 and Maserati Bud, saying that they were lying on her about, her personal life, right? But then she's doing the same thing to Alicia in that she's speaking about Alicia calling her a 304. You know what I mean? How does she know that? The same can be said for what 50 Cent was saying, for what Maserati Bud was saying. Like, why, how are you so confident in saying this? I know that she played Adrienne Bronner talking about Alicia Baumgartner and how, she got run through by this person, run through by that person, run through by this person. But the same thing that was being said about you gonna turn around and use that against somebody who you don't like. It's like the hypocrisy. I'm not understanding like why she don't see that and why she thinks other people won't see that. And then you were saying that you were going to sue 50 Cent. You were saying that you was going to have, put something through the courts on Alicia, which I don't know what she would have any grounds to do that for. You can't sue someone for having an opinion on a true situation. You let it be known all day, every day that you with Papoose. Every day, all day. That's the only thing that Alicia Baumgartner has spoken about that could be, defamation of character, as she was saying, but it's not defamation if it's true. So again, I'm not sure why she would be suing anybody. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying about Claressa Shields and her brand is that she needs to be rehabbing it and putting out a diss track about a girl who she has been aggressive towards. Like, she has been the aggressor from what I've seen. And if y'all have seen something different, y'all tell me. But from what I have seen, thank you, Libra Diva. I appreciate it. From what I have seen, she's been the aggressor. Has she not? I mean, anytime they've had like any physical handling, it's been Claressa coming to Alicia and soliciting that. That's what I've seen. Anytime Alicia brings up Claressa, it's because she's been asked. She doesn't just come out and talk about her versus how Claressa seems to handle it. I just don't understand why she don't see that this isn't good for her brand. She seems not to be focused on the fact that people have to like you to want to support you. You can't call people broke, fat, ugly, all the things that she says about people and then expect them to turn around. The same people who you say that to, you want support from. And I think she feels like she has more support than she does critics. From what I see, it's the other way around. Just the other day, I had peeked in on the tickets for her fight that's coming up. First of all, and it's no shade and disrespect to Kay Scott. I'm not trying to come down on that lady at all, but it's just nobody even saw this fight coming. No one even knew who Kay Scott was. And the fight isn't really one that the fans want to see. It's not. And so you already have that challenge of people not wanting to see this fight. You also have the challenge of you, as in Claressa Shields, being the main one promoting this fight. Like, you're signed with Salida Promotions, you're signed with Win Records, and you're promoting this fight more than they are. A fight that don't nobody even want. And I say that because the tickets are showing that it's not sold out, it's not selling out. It's a lot of blue on that map when I looked at it just 2 days ago, meaning there's a lot of seats that are available. And we're within a month of that fight happening. It's going to be here in Atlanta. And what I will say about the fight culture in Atlanta is people in Atlanta do like fights. They show up at bars and watch the fights. It's a lot of times, if you don't get there at a certain time, you won't even be able to get into the restaurants to see the fight. So you would think that a fight that's happening at the State Farm Arena, it would be a big deal, right? But it's not. And for whatever reason, Claressa isn't putting together the puzzle pieces of what she's doing, how she's presenting herself isn't translating well for her business and for her brand. She's begging for sponsors, basically. And I'm curious to see like what sponsorship she's going to get. With her accolades, if she had done differently, with her accolades, she should have people coming to her. Like she should have people saying, hey, you got this fight coming up, blah, blah, blah. That's not happening, because if it were, I don't think that she would be asking people for sponsorships, selling merch like she is, and just kind of doing a flash sale like out of nowhere, not on a website or anything. It's just it's not good for her, is what I'm saying. And I just hate that she seems to be on an island by herself when it comes to this stuff, and she's mad at the wrong people. I feel like you should be having a conversation with Sleep Promotions, with Win Records, with your man, because I mean I believe that's who her manager is, Papoose, because it's just not working out for you. There was some buzz a couple of days ago of people asking, will the fight even continue? Like, will they actually have the fight because the ticket sales are at risk? That's what I'm saying. Before this whole affair with Papoose happened, the Claressa Shields commentary was very, very different. And in my opinion, it's just not worth it to risk everything she's worked for. She's worked so hard. I mean, boxing is tough. I wouldn't want to do it. You know what I mean? Like it's not what I would do. It's not what I would choose. But she's skilled at it. That's what she's skilled at. And instead of her building and expanding her brand from that regard, she's going in different directions that aren't really serving her. It's not really good for her. So at this point, she seems so far down the rabbit hole and so far removed from what would turn her brand around, because she feels compelled to answer everybody on everything if she don't like it. And sometimes you just have to not do that. Like, it's okay not to respond to everything. And whomever is in her camp, it seems like they just kind of agree with Claressa so they can stay around, because we've seen that if you disagree with her, she get rid of you. And I mean, when you think about it, if these people are working, they need their money, they need a job, that's just like on your job. Are you going to tell your boss what you really think if you don't agree with them? You're probably not. So I'm not mad at them for that, but it doesn't help with Claressa's sense of what's really going on. And I wish that she could be told, hey, maybe this isn't a good idea, or maybe we should go this route. Have you thought about doing this instead? Like something, because at this point, you beefing with Alicia Baumgartner and putting out a diss track that I heard wasn't that good. I haven't listened to the full thing because she just released it like a little while ago. But from what I hear, it's not really good. I've heard some snippets of her other music before. I'm not a fan of the rapping or the singing. Why are you even pursuing this? Like, why? And I know that music has changed over time. Like, more things are acceptable now than it would be in the past. But girl, it's so many other things you could do with your brand than this. And then how many careers have 50 Cent ended? You know what I mean? Like, ever since him and Ja Rule went up against each other, Ja Rule career ain't been the same since. And Ja Rule was a big star in the early 2000s. So that's what I'm saying. It's just not smart. And it's not, it doesn't make sense for her to engage in these types of dealings. I just don't know what her mindset is. And then when you look at, how hard she goes for Papoose, it gives secondhand embarrassment, because he doesn't go nearly as hard for her as she goes for him. And you couple that with the fact that he's still married, he still got rocking the tattoos of his wife on his body. He sidestep a lot of questions, his body language with her. It's a lot all at one time, is what I'm saying. If one of these things is going on, then that'll be one thing. But all of these things going on at the same time, it makes me wonder if she truly does have peace, what her mental health is like. Is she I mean, because with all of this going on, how is she able to continue functioning at her healthiest state? I know that she believes anybody who she steps in the ring with, she can demolish them. But however, you never underestimate an opponent. You never underestimate an opponent. And from what I understand about boxing and from what I've seen about people who are in training camp, they're solely focused on the job at hand. Boxing is how you make your biggest bag. That's what you need to be focused on. That's where your attention needs to go. The time and money that it took for you to do this diss track is a waste. Because from what I know, anytime you go into a studio, it costs you money. Why would you spend that money on that for like a minute and 15 seconds worth of a diss track for a girl that you won't meet in the ring? It gives bully behavior because, like I said, Alicia does not do music that we know of. It's just weird. I don't know. And then the beef with 50 is just, I don't know how this is going to end. We're going to keep watching it. We're going to keep just reporting on it to see what happens. I don't know what 50 Cent's plan is for this girl. It's clear that he has a plan anytime he does something. Don't know why he picked this back up. Maybe he got time now or whatever the case may be. But it's weird. It's all just weird. And I know it's all entertainment. It's all just for the likes and the clicks and all of this stuff right here. Her, him, all of them. I haven't seen that Alicia has really responded to the whole diss track thing. I don't think she should. I feel like she has been more mature in the beef with Claressa out of the two women. I think that she should still do that, because what'll happen is if she finds herself, getting in the weeds with Claressa, then her brand is going to suffer. And I'm sure she does not want that. So, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to be an adult and just let somebody else do what they're going to do and move on with your business and do what you need to do for yourself. It's a shame that sometimes as women, we don't feel like it can be more than one of us at a time. That's great. I remember like back in the day with hip hop, that's how it used to be. Only one woman at a time could be at the forefront. And it appears that in this dynamic with Claressa Shields and Alicia Baumgartner, um, Claressa only wants her to be one woman. Like Claressa calls herself the face of boxing. Alicia Baumgartner calls herself the face of boxing. And it's kind of like they both warring with, that title. They're both at war with each other with who's going to maintain that. I will say this. I don't think that if you want to be the face of women's boxing, you would do some of the things that Claressa Shields has done. Because as much as we are progressing as a society, as much as we are evolving as a society, there's still some very key things in place that don't bode well for you, especially as women. I mean, because just think about it, in regular life as women, there's a double standard when it comes to how we conduct ourselves, how we move, personally in relationships. It's a double standard. And that double standard does not leave just because you have money and fame. It's still there. And so that's why I say for some reason, it's kind of like Claressa wants everybody to just agree with her no matter what she does. And that's not happening. And so then it makes her upset. And instead of her considering how she's going to respond or not responding at all, she just kind of goes into this place of okay, I'm just gonna make them, if they don't like it, I'm gonna make them see it. I'm gonna be more out front with it. And it's like, I don't know if that, I don't think that's working for you. I don't think it's working for you. So at the end of the day, I don't think anybody wants Claressa to fail. At the same time, it's like, when you see somebody needs to be humbled, and so then that will kind of jar them into doing better and being better. Like, I think that's the vibe. I think people want her to understand that, like, you can only go so far for so long before the karma kind of hits you. And from what I can tell and what I believe is that when it hits, it's going to hit hard because it's been building for a while. But y'all tell me what y'all think. Like, you know, I think this whole beef with Alicia and 50, especially at the same time, is a mistake. I think it's wasted time. She was talking about how she's struggling with getting down to 160. And it's hard, like, for women. And that's what I mean about her not realizing what she's doing is impacting her negatively. The stress of all of this, getting upset and mad about all of this, I'm pretty sure is working against her, because as women, our hormones, especially at a certain age, because she's over 30 now, your body changes after 30. Our hormones have an impact on our body function. She's trying to cut weight. She said she's lost 10 pounds. In the beginning, before she even announced her fight, she said she needed to lose 25 pounds. So that means she still has 15 pounds to go in however many more weeks that she has before this fight. That's hard to do. And she's expressing how hard it is. So why in the world are you adding to the stress? That's what I'm saying. She does things that counters what she's trying to do, making it harder on herself. And I just don't understand why she does that, right? So again, wasted time and effort and energy when she really needs to be figuring out, okay, what am I going to do? Because I'm hoping that she can make weight at this point. She's talking about how hard it is. We know she doesn't necessarily like eating healthy. She's training hard and everything like that. But before the fight, they have the weigh-in. You have to make weight in order for the fight to continue. I'm like worried for her, because it's like, girl, if you don't make weight, then what you gonna do? So at any rate, y'all, that's all I got. I just wanted to jump on here real fast and talk about this whole thing, because it's just not looking good for her overall. If she can pull it off, great, good for her. You know what I'm saying? I don't wish any ill will to her. I watch her and I'm wondering, like, what's the mindset? It's interesting to me, because I'm seeing somebody who has so much more potential than they're exhibiting, and she's so stubborn, it seems, that she doesn't want to listen to anybody. And so people just don't even, aside from content creators, just don't even try to reason with her. The content creators that's out here that's covering it a lot of the times are speaking facts and truth, and trying to, like, tell her, hey, X, Y, and Z. But I don't know. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I hope y'all have a good night. We'll just keep at it. Talk to y'all later.